Good morning. Glad I got a chance to spend some time with you today. Hope you had a great weekend this weekend, went to church, and hope you received a lesson from being in God's house worshiping the Lord. Whenever I'm going through my Bible studies, doing my personal devotions, which I do every day, one of the things that has helped me so much is I've actually taken God's Word, printed it out where I can highlight it, make notes, and do different things. And so I've actually printed the entire Bible on 8.5 by 11 paper so that I can go through and read, mark it up. Mark my Bible up so much I can't read some of it anymore. So this has helped me in my Bible study. In my personal devotions, I'm now going through the book of Ezra. A wonderful book when you're reading about Ezra. And there's one passage in there that I think that we all need to read and we also need to heed. And it's found in Ezra chapter 7 and verse 10. For Ezra had prepared his heart to seek the law of the Lord, and to do it, and to teach in Israel statutes and judgment. Notice that. Ezra had prepared his heart to seek the law of the Lord. In other words, Ezra made a decision. He made a decision that he was going to take time and spend time in God's Word, so that he might learn it. Now notice this. He prepared his heart so that he could seek God's Word in order to obey it, and through obedience also teach it. Now that's very important, because what it tells us is this, is we got to have a desire to know God's Word. Then we need to be obedient to God's Word before we're ever going to be able to teach God's Word. Now you might say, well, Brother Michael, I'm not a teacher. Well, yes you are, because you are teaching others by the way you live your life. Now, who do you need to teach God's Word? Well, it depends on where God's called you. But first of all, we teach it to our family. We teach it to our children. We're to train up our children in the nurture and the admonition of the Lord. That we, as it talks about in Deuteronomy chapter 6, that we're to teach our children, whether we're walking, whether we're sitting, whether we're standing, no matter where we are, as it says in Deuteronomy 6, we are to teach our children. So yes, you have been called to be a teacher. You have been called to teach God's Word to your family, to your children. But first, it begins when we have a heart's desire and we have made the necessary effort and the planning to prepare our hearts to seek God's Word. So, study. Do it, be obedient, and then when you do that, you will teach your children how to love the Lord. You'll teach your children how to live for the Lord, and you will also be an example to others. So the question that I have today is this: what have you prepared your heart to do? What have you prepared your heart to do? What do you want to accomplish with your life? I want to accomplish that when my children look at me, that they see Christ living in me, and that they see their father and their grandfather being obedient to the word of the Lord. But it begins when we prepare our heart. It begins when we make that decision to study God's Word. I hope and pray that you have a daily devotion. I know people say, well, I get so busy and I don't have this and I can't do this. Every day I think if we honestly look at our lives, we see a lot of time that we waste, that we could put it to better use, to a greater use in having a personal devotion with the Lord. Get into God's Word. Study God's Word. Read God's Word for yourself so that you can understand God's Word. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow.